a place of beginnings, a land whose history didn't start with invasion, colonization, or slavery, but with life itself. Humanity's first breath rose somewhere in the valleys of East Africa. Long before pyramids or kings, early Africans fashioned tools from stone, hunted the plains, tamed fire, and learned to survive harsh seasons. These first communities were the ancestors of every living human being on the planet today. From these beginnings, Africa did not stay still. Across the continent, people learned to shape their world. Nomads followed rains and rivers. Herders domesticated cattle and goats. Farmers planted yams, sorghum, and millet, forming the roots of early civilization. But Africa would soon rise to heights the world rarely credits it for. Thousands of years before Europe had its great castles, the Nile Valley was alive with brilliance. Ancient Egypt emerged not as an isolated wonder, but as part of a much wider African story. Pharaohs ruled at a time when astronomy guided planting seasons, mathematics designed temples of stone, medicine healed the sick with herbs and surgery, and scribes wrote in one of the earliest scripts known to humanity. Yet Egypt did not stand alone. To its south stood Kush and Nubia, African kingdoms that traded, fought, and sometimes ruled Egypt itself. Their bowmen were feared. Their gold wealth was legendary. Their culture, language, and traditions shaped the Nile for thousands of years. If we travel west, we find a different kind of power built not in stone, but in knowledge and trade. The Empire of Ghana rose first, thriving on the exchange of gold and salt across the Sahara. When Ghana declined, Mali took its place, and with it came one of the richest stories in world history. Under kings like Sundiata and Mansa Musa, wealth flowed through the empire. Caravans stretched over the desert for miles, and the city of Timbuktu became a beacon of learning at a time when much of the world was still wrapped in war and disease. There, scholars copied manuscripts by hand. Libraries burst with volumes of science, poetry, law, mathematics, and philosophy. Some call this period Africa's golden age and era of intellectual light shining from the continent's west. To the south, a different legacy took shape. Great Zimbabwe, built without mortar, rose into a massive stone power center. Its walls still stand today, speaking of people who knew engineering, governance, and wealth long before European explorers arrived. Farther east, civilizations connected Africa with the world through water. In Kilwa, Zanzibar, and Mogadishu, sailors mastered wind and current, sailing dhows across the Indian Ocean. Africa was trading ivory, pottery, iron, and ideas with Arabia, India, China, and receiving new beliefs, new languages, and new goods in return. The Swahili culture was born from this exchange, fluent in Africa yet open to the world. For thousands of years, Africa thrived rich with empires, kingdoms, communities, and innovations. Then, the storms began. Foreign ships arrived on African shores. Some came to trade honestly, others came with hunger and weapons. The Atlantic slave trade tore millions from their homes. Families shattered, cultures suffered, kingdoms weakened. Africa faced invasion not from one place, but from many Europe, the Middle East, and later colonial governments that carved the continent into territories and borders without consent or understanding. But Africa's story is not one of silence or surrender. Resistance rose everywhere. Queen Amina rode into battle to expand her kingdom. Ya Santewa led the Ashanti against the British Empire when men hesitated. Samori Toure, Menelik II, Shaka Zulu, and countless others fought to defend the land and the people. Even in defeat, the spark of freedom never died. By the mid-20th century, that spark became a flame. Ghana broke free in 1957, and one by one, nations reclaimed their independence. Africa began rewriting its borders not with pens imposed by outsiders, but with hope, culture, and identity. Today, Africa stands in a new chapter. It is a continent of 54 countries and more than 1.4 billion people, home to over 3,000 languages, ancient traditions, and new inventions. A continent where music travels the world, where skyscrapers rise in Lagos and Nairobi, where young creators, scientists, and innovators shape the future of technology, entertainment, and science. Africa is not a mystery. It is not a single story. And it is not defined by what was taken or what was lost. It is defined by what endured. Creativity, strength, community, survival, from the first footsteps of early humanity to the pyramids that pierce the desert sky to the drums, cities, languages, and dreams of today, Africa's story is still being written. Not in whispers, but in voices more powerful than ever before. Because Africa is not just where humanity began. Africa is where humanity continues.